Suho felt completely helpless, but then, out of nowhere, a memory popped into his mind, a dream he once had. It was so vivid that it felt more like a real experience than just a dream. In it, he was part of this strange game world where he had these cool power attack gloves. He fought monsters, leveling up as he went. Each monster he faced got stronger and tougher, forcing him to come up with smarter ways to survive. He trained himself, fought non-stop, and grew stronger with every victory. And before he knew it, he'd leveled up so much that only the most dangerous monsters stood in his way. Then came the final stage, the big boss battle. Suho remembered it clearly. This boss wasn't just strong, he was on another level entirely. Strangely, Suho found himself respecting the boss, maybe even envying his strength. But there was something odd about this boss. It wasn't just any enemy, it was his father. Suho couldn't bring himself to fight his dad, felt wrong. Instead, he wondered how his father could be so powerful. Was it even real? Or was this just his mind creating a symbol of someone he looked up to? Either way, Suho couldn't shake the feeling. Back in reality, Suho snapped out of it when he saw a crazed hunter attacking a girl. Grabbing a fire extinguisher, he charged in to help. Even as he ran, he kept thinking about his dad. What would he do in a situation like this? How would he handle a literal monster? The hunter was terrifying, his entire body engulfed in eerie blue flames. Worse, he was infecting others, turning them into monsters like himself. Suho fought back, swinging the fire extinguisher with all his strength, trying to protect the girl and stop the hunter from spreading his madness. But as the fight went on, Suho realized he might have made a big mistake. He had no magic. No special powers, just a regular guy with a fire extinguisher. What was he even thinking? Then something weird happened. The hunter didn't drop after Suho's attack. Instead, he froze mid-air. In fact, everything around Suho came to a standstill. Time itself had stopped. Confused, Suho noticed a notification hovering in front of him. He hadn't even seen it until now. When he opened it, he was hit with a surprise. It said he'd completed a secret quest, the courage of a weakling. The system gave him a choice: become a player. Suho hesitated, thinking back to that dream of fighting his dad, but then he grinned. How could he refuse? He accepted, and just like that, the system welcomed him as a player. It didn't stop there. The system rewarded him with some incredible bonuses, a powerful spell, immunity to poisons, and even a longer lifespan. But there was a catch. This wasn't a game, and he only had one life, no do-overs. With his stats unlocked and his first mission laid out, destroy the fog burn, Suho finally felt a glimmer of hope. The fog burn referred to the hunter who'd gone mad after a failed gate-clearing mission. When time unfroze, Suho sprang into action. He yelled for the girl to run while taking in the strange new markings hovering over people's heads. It hit him. They weren't just ordinary people anymore. They'd turned into mistburns, monsters just like the hunter. Now he could see all the inscriptions above the heads of the hunters. They were all mistburns that he needed to destroy. They were a simple, unawakened people. He saw two unawakened demonic beings and one hunter in front of him. He realized that he needed to defeat them to level up. Suho saw two fogburns running at him, ready to destroy him. The surviving humans were fleeing to safety. He stood calmly and waited for them to approach. He knew that if he really had awakened, he now possessed magic that was capable of destroying the monsters. So he decided to test it. Suho took the fire extinguisher and hit the first monster that tried to attack him. This blow knocked the monster back a few meters. He threw the fire extinguisher away and now decided to test the power of his punch. He swung and aimed his fist straight at the monster's head. Suho was incredibly focused and angry. He gathered all his strength and shouted for the monster to feel the full force of his attack. His determination and rage were palpable, and for the first time, he was not afraid of them. The power of his strike increased several times. Now he was an extraordinary, unawakened man. He struck the monster and it pierced the ceiling with him. Suho couldn't believe that he had such power. He was easily able to defeat the monster who had previously been able to destroy him with a single blow. The system notified him that he was able to defeat Burn Mist unawakened. He looked at his fist and couldn't believe that he was able to do it with just one blow. The monster saw that he was standing still and decided to attack him, but Suho was able to dodge and counterattack him, which destroyed the monster. The system confirmed that he was able to defeat the second monster, and his mission was complete. He was incredibly happy that he had such abilities. Suho was able to level up. He had successfully completed the training where he had to destroy the fog burn and level up. He decided to test his new powers. He attacked the monster and finally realized that he had really awakened, now had abilities and could wield magic. Suho struck, but this time it was different. The monster took his blow as if it didn't feel any pain. This surprised Suho and made him realize that the upcoming battle would be much more difficult than he thought. He was quite astonished that he was unable to destroy the monster. He realized that his opponent had become much stronger than he had expected. This caused him to not only be surprised, but also anxious, causing him to look for new ways to defeat it. The monster launched its attack right after Suho failed to destroy it. Mistburn had severely wounded Suho in one of his attacks. Feeling the sharp pain, Suho realized that he was in big trouble. The situation had become critical, and he realized that he had to change his strategy to survive and continue the fight. Suho gathered his strength and kicked the monster, which allowed him to break free and jump back to a safe distance. He saw the heavy wounds on himself and thought that now he could turn into a demonic creature after such an injury. It scared him because he had only just been able to awaken, and now the effect of long life without sickness had been activated. He couldn't figure out what the skill was, but then he remembered that the ability was in one of the notifications he had gotten as a reward for killing monsters. The monster pounced on him and knocked him to the ground, trying to inflict maximum damage. It was incredibly strong, and Suho could hardly contain it. He thought that since he was weaker than a D-rank demonic creature, it meant that his rank was E. He was glad that he was able to awaken, but didn't understand why he had such a low rank. Suho tried his best to restrain the monster and prevent it from biting him. He didn't know how to defeat it, but he didn't give up. He was given skill points and strength points. The enhanced abilities gave him a chance to win the battle with the monster. After receiving the reward, Suho was able to strike the monster and release his hand from its death grip. He was able to throw the monster off of him, throwing it to the floor. He had to get up and counterattack to finish off the monster before it could get back on its feet again. The monster quickly got up and their deadly duel continued. Suho didn't know what the monster would do, but he realized that he needed to urgently destroy it before it inflicted a fatal wound on him. Suho started to attack it and gave it a heavy and powerful blow. This attack was so strong that the monster recoiled, clearly stunned by the power of the blow. He continued to pursue his target, leaving the monster no chance, but the monster took all the blows and still tried to destroy Suho, who couldn't believe that the monster was able to attack him back after receiving such heavy blows. Suho thought that even with such strength, he couldn't overpower the monster. He decided that the skill points given to him would have to be invested in strength. He invested the skill points, and his strength increased. He thought that this would be enough to defeat the monster. He dodged the monster's attack and prepared to attack it. He didn't know that he determined the ranks of the unawakened as well, but that was the least of his worries right now. He struck another incredibly strong blow. After he increased his strength, the monster flew several meters away and could only stop when it hit the wall. Suho decided that it could not be given the slightest chance. He started attacking it before it could get up, and his strikes reached their target and were much stronger than the past attacks. There was no stopping him. He delivered blow after blow, and the monster could do nothing. After a series of monstrous attacks, Suho struck it in the hope that he had managed to destroy it. The tension and fatigue were making itself felt, but Suho was determined. Suho was breathing heavily. It was becoming difficult for him to continue the battle. He approached the monster's body to see if he had succeeded in destroying it. The system notified him that he had defeated the monster. He was able to increase his level by several levels. The enhanced abilities and new abilities gave him confidence, and he felt that his efforts were not in vain. Suho decided to sit down and rest. He needed to catch his breath. He was happy that the monster was finally finished. He looked at his own body again, which was slightly bloody. He clenched his fist and finally realized that he had become an awakened player. Suho realized that now he would have a completely different future. Now he didn't feel like an ant. Now he was more confident and knew what he had to do next. He was sure that now he would succeed. Now that he was awakened, he could save people and deal with all the chaos that enveloped his world. The unknown hunter moved through the other monsters towards the building where Suho was. In his hands was a heavy sword that he dragged along the ground. As the hunter approached the building, he jumped incredibly high in the air. His movements were swift and graceful. His goal was clear, and he aimed to reach it with maximum precision and speed. Suho went to the window to see what was happening outside, but suddenly he noticed that a swift attack was launched at him. He saw the Fogburn was already nearby, drawing his sword to attack. Suho, in slight daze, didn't know what to do. He had to find a way to avoid being hit and work out a plan of action to avoid falling victim to the swift attack. He was attacked by an incredibly strong monster. It was a Mistburn awakened. It was C rank, and stopping it would be quite difficult considering Suho's own rank. Burn Mist launched an attack that sent piles of rocks flying down. The debris piled up all around, creating clouds of dust and chaos.